Thank you. To work on cleansing, purifying, sanctifying our earth on a planetary level requires that we accelerate our own consciousness to the point where we can actually feel and experience this level of work. Visualization alone is not enough. It requires an energetic activation of our chakras to the point where there is an acceleration of light within them, where we can actually feel the radiation accelerating and entering into this equation of the alchemy that we are about. During the Astrayas, I definitely felt this, and during many of the songs, and I hope that you did too. This work will be ongoing as a part of Hercules' labor to work on the oceans and the lakes and the rivers, the waters of our earth and of ourselves, because as we know, the earth is 3/4 or more water, just as we are. So, using water to purify, using light to purify, using fire and crystal light energy to purify is what we are about in these services. Now I am looking at the image of Lord Maitreya before me on the wall, and he is holding a staff, and at the top of that staff is a sphere of white light, and then above it like a diamond arrow that's a part of the entire matrix of this staff. This is a rod of power, and it is an electrode that Maitreya, as a former world teacher, who is the guru of the world teachers, and as the planetary Buddha, uses in his spiritual work to bring balance and harmony across our earth. You can visualize holding a staff of such, or a rod of power and fire, so long as you are in presence, and of course you realize that God is the doer and God within you is the doer. And you can use, just like Omram carried a staff with a crystal at the top, a focus of light to work the works of the white magicians, far beyond that which we see outplayed in the media, like with the Harry Potter movies, etc. This is true spiritual energy that goes beyond necromancy and all of the lower aspects of magic. So, some of you may have felt an empowerment at some time or other during your life when you were in the zone, in that sacred space of perfection and light and total purity, where you could energetically feel yourself as a crystal being being utilized for this great spiritual work on a planetary level. If you haven't reached that understanding or level yet, keep on keeping on. It may take months, years, and in some cases even lifetimes to understand what I am speaking about. And yet, someday, if you maintain your constancy, you will come to that point of self-realization. I've just completed reading a book that I've been recommending, Initiation by Elizabeth Haish, and at a very important juncture of the book, she speaks of the Ark of the Covenant and what it truly was, and the initiates and the adepts in Egypt using these electrodes where they could concentrate superconducting energies from the divine world into these physical rods and use them for various purposes, for healing, for levitating the stones that were used in building the Great Pyramids, and for other very important work that they were doing to bring harmony and stability across Egypt and throughout the world. So for those of us who understand the dynamic of our spiritual work, and we invoke light day after day, we do work on ourselves, we can ask for the empowerment at the level that we are able to sustain it of this energy so that we can accomplish greater spiritual work. Now, in this book, the disciples, the initiates, had to go through many, many, many levels of initiation before they were entrusted with this level of light as an initiate. So I don't believe in my heart of hearts that most of us right now are at the level that these adepts were in Egypt at that time, and yet we can strive for that level of purity within ourselves. We can strive for our inner perfectionment, the perfectionment of the heart, and cleanse, transmute, and continue working on ourselves to the point where we will energetically feel what the initiates, the adepts feel. We will understand the equation, the dynamic of what is entailed, and we will continue to do that work that is essential in this process. If we only visualize, if we only gropingly pray to the divine for our human needs, and we are not really engaged in understanding that we are God, that God lives within us, as all true initiates and adepts understand, then we will have a difficult time being able to radiate forth that level of cosmic energy. And yet, when we continue and do the work of purifying and cleansing, like the Ho'oponopono song that we've just sung, and understand the cosmic relationships that are at hand when we do this, then that work will be much more effective. In the book The Masters in the Path, I recall hearing about this rod, and Lord Maitreya uses that rod, and before him, his guru, and before them, previous gurus. So at some point in the future, it is very possible that Jesus, or Jesus and Kuthumi, or other masters will be utilizing the same rod that beloved Lord Maitreya carries and utilizes for the salvation of our earth. Will any of us be worthy to carry that same rod at some time in the future? It is up to us. If we strive, if we call upon the Lord, if we do the inner work that's essential, then one day we too may find ourselves in all true humility empowered by this level of God energy to assist all of the evolutions of our earth. So does anybody have anything to share on this subject from your own experience, from in recent days, in your dream state, in your higher consciousness? Anyone here or on our broadcast?
I'm reading the book also. I'm most of the way through it, and it's bringing up some memories. And one of the things that strike me as very, very important for all of us right now in this time, in this day and age, in our paths, is what I perceived as the importance of disciplining the faculty of the attention. A lot of early discipline, I guess, by those initiates was learning to focus and learning to control not just their physical body, not just their emotions, not just their mental thoughts, but every bit of themselves, and to change, for instance, change their emotion on a dime at will, so that you never have a bad mood, you're never sad or anything like that. It was a joyful, for me, acknowledgement that emotions are a choice. And that that opens the door to a really very different kind of aspect of mastery, which is every single moment, all circumstances are a choice, which is a pretty cool definition of mastery, you know. So I appreciate that. And also I would echo from my own personal experience that visualizations aren't as powerful as visualizations and visceral feeling. Yeah, and it's really important. If you can feel what it feels like to fill a whole room, your aura is that big, and you are really inhabiting that, and you can have great influence over that. And then once you practice that, you can make it bigger or smaller, and it's but it does require practice and repeated practice, persistence, I think.
Now, one thing I've noticed, and I've spoken of this a couple times, is that I actually feel the radiation so intensely that it actually affects the tanning of my skin, and especially my face, but actually my whole body. And I can see on the monitor my face is even more tan than when I walked in tonight. I mean, did you notice it? But this happens during dictations, it happens during darshans, and especially when there's a tremendous amount of radiation. What the Master would like me to share is that this radiation comes from the within out. And so it starts internally within us through our heart chakra especially, and also the solar plexus, because the solar plexus is the place of the sun. And what Boyd just shared is important, because when we have the mastery of our emotions, our sun center, our solar plexus, is key for generating the God power, the energy to do the spiritual work that I shared earlier that we can do as initiates and adepts. So the mastery of the emotions is really almost the most essential thing that we can do to become a sun center in order to have the radiating center of light from deep within us that then shines forth through our body temple to the outer and then emanates out in waves, cosmic waves of fire, spiritual fire. So if you desire to have a natural tan, just as I seem to have almost all the time, you can generate so much fire from internally within you that you will tan from the within to the without. And I challenge heart friends in this movement to experience this. I've seen people that, Boyd and others, that have had this experience. And others have felt the radiation and actually been tanned in the presence of a great release of light, such as an Elohim or various masters who desire to release both a message and a heart stream and a tremendous amount of radiation. So I believe that one of our purposes in this movement is to go beyond where we were in previous Ascended Master movements. We are really on the path of initiation. And lest anyone think that this is something less, think again, because this is the path of initiation. And initiations happen all the time within our movement, unbeknownst to most people, and probably in your lives, very well known to you. So if you have had an experience of this factor of the radiation as a blessing for you, as a physical thing that you have felt and seen, share with us. We'll put something on the forum, because it's important for us to understand what radiation is. And as I shared the other day, in counteracting the radiation from Fukushima, the first thing the masters share with me is that we can raise our vibration so that we're at a higher frequency than the negativity through the distorted radiation, the nuclear radiation that's permeating the atmosphere, going into the water, etc. So I truly believe that as adepts, we meet fire for fire, so to speak, just like Meshach, Abednego, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in the fiery furnace. Well, why weren't they burned up? Because the Christ consciousness was there with them. They had entered that Christ consciousness through their faith, and they were able to withstand the fire by being fire, as I understand it. So, any other sharing on this from anyone else? You can come to a mic if you'd like.
And the telephone line is open. If somebody's there, speak up.
Not yet. For me, I can't focus on the radiation or what I'm emanating, but what I focus on is what's in my heart. And the true test for me is my relationships around me every day, and what can I put into them more than what I did yesterday. And one of the things that I feel is really helping me grow is solar gazing and the purity that goes along with that. And Omram was speaking about the sun, and he says, you don't really know the sun. No one really knows the sun at all, and really that is part of our job, is to get to know the sun. And when we do, you know, to be in that very loving space. And yes, it is radiation to a certain degree, but I really believe it's the love that's growing in my heart that is expanding, that is this. And I had an experience one day after gazing at the sun where I came in and I was hanging up something in the closet, and the closet was really dark. And I looked down and I saw some light coming from my body, and it was the sun. And I just love it's almost like you just drink it in and it fills you up, and you just carry that light with you all day. And to me, that's real love that I have available, actually to be easier on myself sometimes and for other people. So.
Thank you. Wonderful. Any other sharing from those listening or watching? I wasn't able to solar gaze in Sweden because every morning, at least to see the sun, because every morning was cloudy. Every morning I was there. It was a little disappointing. When I came back, praise God, in Montana we have the sun that we can see. It is so important to engage in this, and it's tremendous. It's changed me dramatically, and those of you who have really done it regularly, I know it's changed you. So I encourage all of us to continue. Well, let's sing Song 120. I and the Mother Light are one. The Mother Light is our own Kundalini fire, Mother Light, rising from the base to the crown, through our heart, purifying, cleansing, and nurturing us at all levels. I and the Mother Light are one.